Now that you've seen the diverse world of hazmat in Video 1 and understand the potential dangers involved, in Video 2, we will target placards highlighting both classes and their divisions, as well as the specifics of what it takes to haul these materials safely. We will limit our exploration to more common placards that you're likely to encounter while on the road. Towards the end of this video, Chapter 12, titled The Specifics of Hauling Hazmat, I'll elaborate on those points that are relevant to driving as a hazmat driver. This will be more or less in a list format. This is an introductory overview. Placards are essential for communicating hazmat information quickly and effectively. They're like visual shorthand, alerting you to potential danger from a safe distance. They provide a visual warning to everyone on the road, helping them understand the potential dangers and take necessary precautions. But placards are more than just signs. They're standardized symbols recognized internationally, crucial for preventing accidents and ensuring a swift response. Understanding placards increases hazmat awareness. Sarah's journey begins with Class 1 explosives. She handles the dynamite with extreme caution, remembering the devastating news reports of a fertilizer plant explosion. Explosives aren't the only danger. Sarah encounters a tanker with flammable liquids. She keeps her distance, recalling a tanker fire video. The hazards don't stop there. Further down the road, Sarah spots a flatbed truck loaded with metal drums. The placards indicate Class 8 corrosive materials. She knows these substances can eat away at flesh and steel, and she's grateful for the sturdy containers and protective gear that keep her safe. She remembers a news story about an acid spill that caused severe injuries to a worker, reinforcing the importance of careful handling. Continuing her journey, now at a rest stop, Sarah notices yet another hazardous load, a truck with a Class 2 gases placard. She knows these invisible substances can be just as dangerous as the visible ones. She recalls a safety briefing about a chlorine gas leak that forced the evacuation of an entire town, highlighting the importance of proper containment and ventilation. As Sarah continues her journey, she encounters trucks carrying a variety of other hazmat classes: Class 4 flammable solids, Class 5 oxidizers, Class 6 toxic and infectious substances, and Class 7 radioactive materials. Each encounter reinforces the diversity of hazmat and the importance of understanding its unique hazards. Sarah's journey demonstrates the ever-present nature of hazmat in our world. From the fuel that powers our vehicles to the chemicals that create everyday products, these materials are essential to our modern lives. But they also demand respect, knowledge, and a commitment to safety. Mark knows the compressed gas cylinders he uses are Class 2 hazmat. He secures them carefully, remembering a safety video about a cylinder explosion. Mindful of invisible dangers, Mark checks for leaks, knowing a flammable gas release could ignite. He recalls a news story about a gas leak explosion. Mark also knows that not all gases are flammable. Some, like the carbon dioxide used in fire extinguishers, can displace oxygen and cause suffocation in confined spaces. He makes sure the work area is well ventilated and that his colleagues are aware of the potential hazards. Mark's experience highlights the importance of understanding the diverse nature of gases. From the flammable fuels that power our industries to the life-saving oxygen used in hospitals, these invisible substances play a vital role in our world. But they also demand careful handling and a deep understanding of their potential hazards. Maria knows that acetone, a common solvent used in her lab, is a Class 3 flammable liquid. Even though it's a clear, colorless liquid, it has the potential to ignite with a single spark, turning a minor spill into a dangerous fire. She handles the beaker with care, ensuring it's securely placed and away from any heat sources or open flames. Maria remembers a safety training video she watched, showing a lab fire that started with a small spill of flammable liquid. The flames spread quickly, engulfing equipment and causing significant damage. This image reinforces the importance of her careful handling and the strict safety protocols in place. As she works, Maria is mindful of other flammable liquids present in the lab, such as ethanol and methanol. She double-checks that all containers are properly sealed and stored in designated areas, away from incompatible materials. She recalls a news report about a chemical plant fire caused by the accidental mixing of incompatible flammable liquids, a stark reminder of the potential consequences of carelessness. Maria's experience highlights the importance of understanding the risks associated with flammable liquids. These substances are essential in countless industries and everyday products, but they demand careful handling and strict adherence to safety protocols. By being aware of the potential dangers and taking necessary precautions, we can prevent accidents and ensure the safe use of these versatile materials. Jake knows that magnesium powder is a Class 4 flammable solid, capable of igniting spontaneously if not handled properly. He wears protective gear and takes extra precautions to prevent friction or sparks that could set off a fire. I remember a chilling incident from my training where a discarded cigarette ignited a pile of magnesium dust, causing a violent explosion. As Jake drives the truck, he's aware of the potential hazards posed by the flammable solids in his cargo. He maintains a safe distance from other vehicles and avoids any situations that could generate sparks or heat. I recall a news report about a fire at a chemical plant caused by the spontaneous combustion of a flammable solid, which highlighted the importance of proper storage and handling. Jake also knows that some Class 4 solids are dangerous when wet, reacting with water to produce flammable gases. He takes extra care to ensure that the boxes are sealed tightly and protected from moisture. I remember a safety training video showing the violent reaction of sodium metal with water, a stark reminder of the potential dangers. Jake's experience with Class 4 flammable solids highlights the importance of understanding the unique hazards posed by these materials. From spontaneously combusting powders to water-reactive chemicals, these substances require careful handling and respect. By adhering to safety protocols and being aware of the potential dangers, we can minimize the risks and ensure the safe transport and use of these essential materials. Catherine knows that hydrogen peroxide, a powerful oxidizer used in their manufacturing process, is a Class 5 hazmat. While it might seem like a common household item, in concentrated forms, it can be incredibly dangerous. I oversee workers who wear specialized protective gear as they carefully transfer the chemical into designated containers, ensuring it's kept away from any flammable materials. Catherine remembers a safety seminar where she learned about the devastating consequences of mishandling oxidizers. A small spill of a concentrated oxidizer had mixed with combustible materials in a warehouse, causing a rapid and intense fire that engulfed the entire building. This memory reinforces the importance of strict safety protocols and proper segregation of incompatible substances. I also recall a recent incident at a nearby factory where an organic peroxide, another type of Class 5 hazmat, exploded due to improper temperature control. The explosion caused significant damage and injuries, reminding me of the importance of following storage and handling guidelines meticulously. Catherine's experience highlights the crucial role that oxidizers and organic peroxides play in various industries. These substances are essential for manufacturing a wide range of products, from plastics and textiles to pharmaceuticals and cleaning agents. However, their ability to accelerate combustion and their potential instability demand careful handling and a deep understanding of their hazards. By prioritizing safety and adhering to strict regulations, we can harness the power of these materials while minimizing the risks. Dr. Ramirez knows that even in a place dedicated to healing, danger can lurk in the form of Class 6 hazmat. She carefully examines the patient who is suffering from the effects of a toxic substance. She quickly consults the Material Safety Data Sheet, MSDS, now renamed to Safety Data Sheets or SDS, to identify the specific chemical and its potential health hazards. I remember a case from my residency where a worker was exposed to a highly toxic pesticide. Despite our best efforts, the patient succumbed to the poison's effects. This memory reinforces the importance of quick and informed action when dealing with Class 6 materials. She administers the appropriate antidote and monitors the patient's vital signs closely, She's grateful for the strict regulations and safety protocols that govern the handling and storage of toxic substances in the hospital, protecting both patients and healthcare workers. Dr. Ramirez's experience highlights the critical importance of understanding and respecting the dangers of toxic and infectious substances, from the life-saving medicines that can also be harmful in the wrong doses to the biohazardous waste that requires careful disposal. These materials demand a high level of caution and adherence to safety protocols. By prioritizing safety and following strict regulations, we can minimize the risks and ensure that these substances are used responsibly to protect human health and the environment. Tony knows that these rods, glowing with invisible power, are Class 7 radioactive materials. He moves with deliberate precision, using specialized tools and protective gear to shield himself from the harmful radiation they emit. He recalls a documentary about the Chernobyl disaster, a chilling reminder of the devastating consequences when radioactive materials are mishandled. Tony understands that these materials, while potentially dangerous, are also essential for generating clean energy and advancing medical technology. He takes pride in his role, ensuring that these powerful substances are handled and transported with the utmost care. He remembers a visit to a cancer treatment center, where he saw firsthand how radioactive isotopes are used to target and destroy tumors, saving countless lives. As he completes his inspection, Tony reflects on the delicate balance between harnessing the power of radioactive materials and protecting ourselves from their harmful effects. He knows that strict regulations, rigorous training, and a deep respect for the invisible forces at play are essential for ensuring the safe and responsible use of Class 7 hazmat. Tony secures the container, confident that the radioactive materials are safely contained and ready for transport to a specialized facility. Tony's work highlights the duality of Class 7 hazmat. These materials hold immense power, capable of both harming and healing. By approaching them with knowledge, caution, and a commitment to safety, we can harness their potential for good while minimizing the risks they pose. Class 8. Corrosive materials can be as destructive as fire, but instead of flames, they unleash a different kind of devastation: the power to eat away at flesh, metal, and even stone. David carefully opens the container, ensuring he's wearing proper protective gear to shield himself from any potential spills or leaks. Inside, he finds drums filled with hydrochloric acid, a common but potent corrosive used in various industrial processes. David remembers a safety training video where a worker accidentally splashed acid on their skin, resulting in painful burns and lasting scars. The image reinforces the importance of caution and the strict regulations that govern the handling and transport of these hazardous materials. He meticulously inspects the drums for any signs of damage or leaks, ensuring they are properly secured and labeled. He recalls a news report about a truck carrying corrosive materials that overturned on a highway, spilling its contents and causing significant damage to the road and surrounding environment. This incident highlights the potential for widespread harm if corrosive materials are not handled and transported with the utmost care. David approves the shipment, confident that the corrosive materials are safely contained and ready for transport. David's work demonstrates the importance of vigilance and expertise in the world of hazmat. Corrosive materials, while essential for many industries, demand respect and a thorough understanding of their potential hazards. By following strict safety protocols and adhering to regulations, we can harness the power of these substances while minimizing the risks they pose to human health and the environment. Lithium batteries that power our laptops, phones, and even electric vehicles are Class 9 miscellaneous dangerous goods, whether by road or rail, and the primary regulations come from the U.S. Department of Transportation. It should also be noted that specific regulations for maritime transport or air transport might use slightly different wording. While they seem harmless in our everyday devices, during transport, they can pose a hidden fire hazard. The workers handle them with care, following strict protocols to prevent damage or short circuits that could ignite a fire. They remember a recent incident where a shipment of lithium-ion batteries caught fire in the cargo hold of a plane, forcing an emergency landing. The intense heat and toxic fumes cause significant damage and put lives at risk, highlighting the importance of careful handling and proper packaging. The workers also know that Class 9 encompasses a wide range of other materials, from dry ice used for refrigeration to genetically modified organisms transported for research, to products known to be environmentally hazardous substances. In the case of the example used here, 3082 is a liquid and is designated as NOS, or not otherwise specified. What this means is that this product poses a significant environmental hazard when released, even though it's not categorized under any other hazard class. Each substance under Class 9 has its own unique hazards and requires specific handling procedures. The batteries from our previous segment are safely loaded onto a truck for their final delivery, thanks to the careful adherence to Class 9 hazmat regulations. This scene illustrates the diverse nature of Class 9 hazmat. It's a category that encompasses a wide range of materials, each with its own unique set of hazards. By understanding these hazards and following proper safety protocols, we can ensure the safe transport and use of these essential materials that power our modern world. In video 1 and in the earlier part of this video number 2, I gave you a thorough introduction to classes, all 9 of them. Now in this section, we are going to break each of those 9 classes down into their respective divisions, as well as their associated placards. This is only going to be a limited introduction just to acquaint you with the placards. And when it comes to Class 1 explosives, those placards speak volumes. Division 1.1, Mass Explosion Hazard. Kaboom! This bright orange diamond with 1.1 in the center is the heavy hitter. Think dynamite and TNT. Division 1.2, Projection Hazard. Watch out. This orange diamond with 1.2 in the center warns of flying debris and shrapnel. Think grenades, some fireworks, military ammunition. Division 1.3, Fire Hazard. Fire in the hole. This orange diamond with 1.3 in the center signals a fire risk with a small explosion hazard. Think flares, some fireworks, and propellants. Division 1.4, Minor Explosion Hazard. Pop. This orange diamond with 1.4 in the center indicates low explosion risk. Think ammunition and shotgun shells. Division 1.5, Very Insensitive Explosives. Super stable. This orange diamond with 1.5 in the center is designed to be stable under extreme conditions. Think blasting agents used in mining and construction. Division 1.6, Extremely Insensitive, Almost Harmless. This orange diamond with 1.6 in the center marks explosives that are very unlikely to go off on their own. Think of detonators that need a specific sequence of events to activate. Key takeaway: some explosives are more dangerous than others. Placards help you quickly understand the level of risk, so you can take the necessary precautions. HAZMAT Placards. Unveiling the Invisible Dangers of Gases. Class 2. While the explosive power of Class 1 hazmat is hard to miss, the dangers of gases can be more insidious, lurking unseen and ready to ignite or suffocate without warning. That's why understanding the placards for Class 2 is crucial for anyone involved in hazmat transportation. Division 2.1, Flammable Gas. Whoomp! There it is! This red placard means fire hazard. These gases are ready to ignite with the slightest spark, turning a minor leak into a raging inferno. Think propane for your backyard grill, butane in your lighter, and the natural gas that heats your home. Division 2.2, Non-Flammable Gas. Not gonna burn, but don't get too comfortable. This green placard signals a non-toxic gas that won't burn or poison you directly. But don't get complacent. These gases can still be dangerous in high concentrations, displacing oxygen and causing suffocation. Think helium for party balloons, nitrogen used in food packaging, and the compressed air that powers pneumatic tools. Division 2.3, Toxic Gas. Danger, don't breathe this. This white placard with a skull and crossbones is a clear warning. This gas is poisonous if inhaled. Think chlorine used in water treatment, carbon monoxide from faulty heaters, and the deadly fumes of industrial chemicals. Key takeaway: gases can be sneaky. Always be aware of the potential hazards, whether it's fire, toxicity, or suffocation. The placards are your guide to staying safe in the invisible world of gases. HAZMAT Placards. Flammable liquids. A flash fire waiting to happen. Class 3. The Class 3 placard is a red diamond, indicating the liquid it represents can easily catch fire. Think gasoline, diesel fuel, acetone, nail polish remover, and paint thinner. These liquids are highly volatile, meaning they readily release vapors that can ignite with the slightest spark. While Class 3 doesn't have divisions in the same way as some other classes, it uses packing groups to further categorize the hazards based on their flash point, the temperature at which they ignite. Simply explained, the flash point of a liquid is the lowest temperature at which it gives off enough vapor to form an ignitable mixture with air. Think of it like this. It's the temperature at which a liquid becomes flammable enough to catch fire if a spark or flame is introduced. It's important to know because it indicates how easily a substance can ignite. This helps determine the level of caution required during handling and transport. One final point before closing out Class 3, Flammable Liquids Placards. Flammable liquids are classified as Class 3 and have a flash point below 141 degrees Fahrenheit, igniting easily at room temperature. For example, gasoline, acetone. However, there are also combustible liquids. These are not classified under any hazard class. These have a flash point at or above 141 degrees Fahrenheit and require more heat to ignite. For example, heavier fuel oils, lighter fluid. HAZMAT placards, flammable solids, more than just a campfire. Class 4. Class 4 is divided into 3 divisions, each with its own unique fire hazard. Division 4.1, flammable solid, burns fast. This red and white striped placard with 4.1 inches at the bottom warns of solids that can easily catch fire and burn quickly. Think matches, sulfur, magnesium, and some types of charcoal. Division 4.2, spontaneously combustible, bursts into flames. This white placard with a black flame and 4.2 at the bottom signals materials that can heat up and ignite all on their own. Think oily rags, charcoal, phosphorus, and some types of coal dust. Division 4.3, dangerous when wet. This plus water equals fire. This blue placard with 4.3 at the bottom warns of materials that react with water to create flammable gas. Think certain chemicals like sodium, potassium, and calcium carbide. HAZMAT placards, taming the fire breathers and invisible threats. Class 5, oxidizers and organic peroxides, things that make other stuff burn. These substances are like fire's best friend, intensifying combustion and turning minor flames into raging infernos. Division 5.1, oxidizer, like giving fire a power boost. This yellow placard with 5.1 at the bottom warns of substances that can make fires burn hotter and faster. Think of those pool chemicals that keep your water sparkling, the oxygen tanks that help patients breathe in hospitals, ammonium nitrate fertilizers, and potassium permanganate. Division 5.2, organic peroxide, unstable and can explode. This yellow and red placard with 5.2 at the bottom signals unstable chemicals that can easily decompose and explode. These are often used in the production of plastics and other industrial materials. Examples include benzoyl peroxide and methyl ethyl ketone peroxide. HAZMAT placards, confronting the silent killers, toxic and infectious substances. Class 6, toxic and infectious substances. These substances are divided into 2 distinct divisions, each with its own unique threat to human health. Division 6.1, toxic substance, poison. This white placard with a skull and crossbones and 6.1 at the bottom leaves no room for doubt. These materials can poison you if you inhale, ingest, or even touch them. Think pesticides, strong cleaning products, industrial chemicals, arsenic, and cyanide. Division 6.2, infectious substance, germs. This white placard with a biohazard symbol and 6.2 at the bottom warns of materials containing harmful bacteria or viruses. Think medical waste, lab samples, and anything that could spread disease. HAZMAT placards, respecting the radiant power of Class 7. This is the mark of Class 7, radioactive material. These materials, like uranium, plutonium, and medical isotopes, emit invisible rays that can be harmful to human health. While Class 7 doesn't have divisions in the same way as some other classes, the level of risk is often indicated by labels with different colors and activity levels. This helps determine the appropriate safety precautions and handling procedures. Think of the materials used in medical treatments to fight cancer or the X-ray machines that help doctors diagnose injuries. These radioactive materials play a vital role in modern medicine and industry, but they demand a healthy dose of respect. HAZMAT placards, the corrosive power of Class 8, corrosive substances, acid. Imagine a substance so potent it can eat away at steel, burn your skin, and leave a trail of destruction in its wake. That's the power of Class 8 corrosive substances. Their placard, a stark black and white image of a hand and metal being corroded, with a bold 8 inches at the bottom, is a clear warning: handle with extreme caution. These substances, including battery acid, strong drain cleaners, hydrochloric acid, and sodium hydroxide, can cause severe burns, blindness, and damage to materials. Think of the acid that eats away at metal in a sci-fi movie, or the caustic chemicals used in industrial cleaning. Proper protective gear, including gloves and eye protection, is essential when handling these hazardous materials. HAZMAT placards, decoding the mystery of Class 9. Think of it as a catch-all for substances that don't fit neatly into the other 8 classes. This includes everything from everyday items like dry ice and lithium batteries to more hazardous substances like asbestos, elevated temperature materials, and hazardous waste. Even materials that could cause extreme discomfort to aircraft crews, such as those with anesthetic properties, fall under this category. Why is understanding Class 9 crucial? Hidden dangers. The placard alone may not reveal the specific hazard. Always exercise caution and seek additional information. Outdated information. Be aware that older resources may contain obsolete classifications. Knowledge is power. Placards provide essential information for the safe handling and transportation of dangerous goods. Another common placard of interest: environmentally hazardous substance. The placard for environmentally hazardous substances warns of materials that are harmful to the environment, particularly marine life. It shows a dead tree and a dead fish, indicating that the substance can damage ecosystems. It's important to handle these materials carefully and prevent them from entering waterways or the environment. Finally, to round out this section on an introduction to placards that you have a fairly good chance of encountering on the highways, is the elevated temperature materials placard. Elevated temperature materials are those transported in bulk at extremely high temperatures. This includes liquids at or above the boiling point of water, 212 degrees Fahrenheit, and solids that are literally hot enough to bake a cake, 464 degrees Fahrenheit. Some liquids, even if not that hot, have a low flash point, meaning they give off flammable vapors at relatively low temperatures. If these liquids are transported at or above their flash point, they're also considered elevated temperature materials. These pose a serious burn risk, so they must be marked with a hot label and placarded based on their specific dangers, such as flammability. To close out, what I've presented here are a variety of some of the more common placards that are attached to trucks that are transporting goods on our public highways. Now, if you see them, you will either remember them and know what you are looking at, or you will watch this video again. With a little time and practice, you'll be better equipped to understand the many different types of trucks and commerce that are traversing our country and conducting business from day to day. Now that you've seen the diverse world of hazmat and understand the potential dangers involved, let's dive into the specifics of what it takes to haul these materials safely. Hauling hazmat isn't just about driving a truck. It's about understanding the rules, following procedures, handling those materials with the utmost care, and always being prepared. Therefore, what follows is a list of both truck requirements and what you will need to attain and/or to carry with you as a hazmat driver. Vehicle requirements. I will start outside at the edge of the circle and work my way inwards to the driver. Please remember, this is only an overview. Before we begin, ensure your truck is ready for a hazmat load. This means proper placards, labels, markings, and shipping papers are in order. Equally important are roadworthy brakes, legal tire tread depth. This includes 4 32 inches on steer tires, 2 32 inches on others, and functioning lights. Emergency equipment is essential and includes fire extinguishers, should be properly rated, such as 10 BC for flammable loads, for example, and inspected with current and stamped certification tags. Warning devices, bidirectional triangles, road flares, or lanterns if hauling flammables. These are intrinsically safe lighting devices, also known as explosion-proof lights. They are specifically designed and certified to prevent sparks or heat that could ignite flammable vapors or materials, and are used in hazardous environments like those involving fuel tankers, chemical plants, or mines. They are rigorously tested and certified to meet specific safety standards. In North America, look for the UL certification. and be sure to keep spare fuses. Basic tools: flashlight, a tire gauge, and a first aid kit. Safety equipment should include wheel chocks and grounding cables to prevent static buildup. This is usually attached to the truck trailer, but mine broke and I was given a spare, temporarily, until mine was replaced by the mechanic. When I was hauling crude oil in North Dakota, I used to ground out to the Getty box, my connection point to attach my hoses to draw out oil from the tanks and into my tanker. Finally, your load must be secured appropriately, whether strapped, baffled for tankers, or otherwise stabilized. Some hazmat loads may require specialized trailers with temperature control. Other chemicals may be volatile and require a vapor recovery system. Preventing cargo shifting and spills. Securement is key to preventing cargo shifting and spills. Flatbed trailers require straps, chains, or other methods to tie down cargo, while tankers rely on baffles to control liquid movement. As mentioned previously, baffled tankers have internal partitions that restrict liquid surge or the shifting of liquid within the tank. Baffles are internal structures in tanker trucks and ships that minimize dangerous liquid sloshing. These perforated walls or dividers in various shapes and arrangements are essentially walls or dividers inside the tank, but they're not solid. They have strategically placed holes or perforations that break up liquid waves, preventing vehicle destabilization and rollovers. Baffles also maintain stability by reducing liquid movement, crucial for safe handling of heavy loads, and reduce stress on the tanker structure. Baffles are essential safety features. Their purpose is in minimizing sloshing to ensure stability and prevent accidents. This is especially critical for safety on icy roads, as surge can destabilize the vehicle. Imagine the momentum of liquid pushing your tanker through a red light on an icy North Dakota traffic intersection. This is where I lived and worked for almost 8 years and drove oil tankers prior to returning to California and getting involved in hauling aggregates. It was a very unforgiving landscape. Proper securement, whether through physical restraints or baffles, ensures stability and prevents dangerous situations. Hazmat packaging, overpacking. When packaging hazmat material products for shipment, aside from individual packages, sometimes overpacking is required. Overpacking hazardous materials, or hazmat, requires specialized packaging to ensure safe transportation. Not all individual packages of hazmat require overpacking for safe shipment, but when it is used, overpacking adds a crucial layer of protection by placing the primary hazmat containers inside a larger, more robust outer container. This outer container acts as a secondary barrier, further safeguarding against damage, leaks, and spills during transit. Essentially, overpacking significantly enhances safety by reducing the risk of incidents during hazmat transportation. Key hazmat identifiers. Placards. Placards are standardized identifiers like labels but larger, used to communicate the hazards of transported materials. These bold, diamond-shaped signs are displayed on containers, trucks, trailers, and other vehicles carrying hazmat, like rail cars. The lettering size for hazmat placards and markings depends on the capacity of the tanker. For cargo tanks with a capacity of less than 3,500 gallons, lettering must be at least 3 inches high. For cargo tanks with a capacity of 3,500 gallons or more, lettering must be at least 4 inches high. This information is based on the U.S. DOT regulations. Placards typically show the hazard class, such as 1 for explosives, division, such as 1.1 for dynamite, and compatibility group, such as 1.1A through whatever. They also feature a United Nations number, which is a 4-digit international code which identifies the specific substance being hauled. For example, in the picture here, 1075 designates liquid petroleum gas or LPG. There is also an associated placard. Or you might see 2 diamonds in the case of double trailers. For diesel 1993 and for gasoline, you'll see 1203. Unless it's gasoline with a flash point of less than 104 degrees Fahrenheit, in which case you'll see 1268. But normally, gasoline is 1203. Before the UN system became the standard for labeling hazardous materials, North America had its own system. This system used 3-digit numbers, sometimes called NA or dot numbers, displayed on diamond-shaped placards, often read for flammables. These placards were once a common sight, but finding photographs of them today, especially digital images, is surprisingly difficult. There are a few reasons for this. The transition to the UN system began before digital cameras were widely used. As a result, fewer images of the older NA placards were likely captured and saved digitally. That's probably the main reason they're hard to find now. While a photo would be ideal, understanding this now less common system is still important. It helps us see how hazard labels have evolved and why there's a push for everyone to use the same system worldwide. These 3-digit NA dot numbers played a crucial role in the transportation of hazardous materials for many years, before the more recent push towards standardization under the current Globally Harmonized System, GHS. The shift away from NA numbers started happening before the GHS was fully put into effect. Anyways, these numbers help first responders to quickly identify the hazard and access safety information in the Emergency Response Guidebook, which I will introduce you to later. To ensure visibility, placards must be at least 9.84 inches on each side, square on point, and displayed on all 4 sides of the vehicle. This allows for quick identification from any angle, enhancing safety for everyone on the road. Compatibility and segregation. Just like people, not all hazardous materials can travel together peacefully. Some can react dangerously if they come into contact with each other. That's where compatibility groups come in. This designation, often found right on the placard, tells you which products can safely travel side by side. For example, you might see Explosives 1.1a, where A is the compatibility group. This helps ensure that when different hazardous materials are transported together, they won't cause any unwanted chemical reactions. Knowing these rules is key to loading your truck safely and preventing any incidents. You'll find this information on your shipping papers with the hazardous materials listed first, followed by any non-hazardous cargo. Packing group. Aside from the compatibility group designation, which is often seen on the truck placards as a letter A, although there are many other letters of the alphabet that are also used, each with its own defined grouping of products that are compatible and can be stored safely next to each other, there is also the packing group. The packing group is simply another product designation that needs to be mentioned and defined. It is just another grading system that gives additional information to that provided by the placard itself. The product's packing group is also known as PG. Packing groups are like a danger level within a hazard class. Think of it as how explosive or how flammable something is. This helps determine how tough the packaging needs to be and how carefully it should be handled. A packing group. One substance, represented by the Roman numeral 1, like dynamite, is the most dangerous and needs the strongest packaging and strictest rules. Fireworks might be a 2 or 3, meaning they're less hazardous, and are represented by Roman numerals 2 or 3. Remember, packing groups exist within a hazard class, so dynamite and fireworks are both Class 1 explosives, but they have different packing groups because dynamite is far more dangerous. So, to summarize, most hazmat classes use packing groups to categorize danger levels, 1 being highest, T2 being medium, 3 lowest. Exceptions are Class 2, gases, Class 7, radioactive, and Division 6.2, infectious substances. These classes do not use packing groups. Packing groups categorize the degree of danger within a class. Classes 2, gases, 7, radioactive, and 6.2, infectious. Don't fit this. For gases Class 2, their hazard is primarily pressure, not varying degrees of toxicity like liquids. For radioactive Class 7, the danger is about the type of radiation, not a range of intensity within the class. For infectious 6.2, the presence of infection is the hazard, not a varying level of infectiousness. You can find the packing group on the safety data sheet, shipping papers, and the label on the package itself. These classifications are based on strict regulations. In the U.S., it's the 49 CFR, or Code of Federal Regulations. Internationally, it's the United Nations or UN recommendations on the transport of dangerous goods, how easily something catches fire, how poisonous it is, and other factors all contribute to determining its packing group. Continuing with key hazmat identifiers, labels. Hazmat identification relies on a clear system to communicate potential dangers. This system uses labels and markings to provide essential information about the contents of a package. Labels. Visual identification. Labels serve as the primary visual identifier for hazardous materials. Standardized design. Labels use standardized symbols and colors to provide a quick summary of the hazards. Placement. Labels are attached directly to packages and overpacks. Purpose. Labels enable rapid identification during handling and transport. Key hazmat identifiers. Markings. Markings provide detailed information beyond what is found on labels and placards. Types of information. Markings may include weight and volume, quantity, instructions and cautions, orientation arrow marking, placement. Markings can be printed directly on the package or attached as separate documents. Purpose. Markings support emergency response, risk assessment, and regulatory compliance by providing comprehensive information about the hazardous materials. In summary, both labels and markings are crucial for effective hazmat identification. Labels provide a quick visual overview of the hazards, while markings offer more detailed information to ensure safe handling, transport, and emergency response. These variables assist with such items as the emergency response, risk assessment, and regulatory compliance. They help the responders determine the appropriate level of action, the resources needed, and the impact zone. As a simple example, the greater the quantity of product involved, the more comprehensive the response. Markings supplement labels and placards. Markings, along with labels or placards, are intended to provide essential information at a glance, and often are affixed directly to the packages or overpacks. Markings ensure complete and accurate hazard communication, which is also known as HAZCOM. Written route plans, permits, and special instructions. Some hazmat shipments require special permits or authorizations depending on the material. You may need a written route plan to your destination. You'll need to plan a route that avoids restricted areas, tunnels, bridges, or populated areas. Restricted areas. Military bases and similar sites have tight security, creating challenges about specialized access. They may contain various hazardous materials and require specialized teams. Responders need access and clear procedures to get in and out quickly. Hazmat spills on bridges are dangerous. Wind can spread toxins, impacting wide areas, and some chemicals can even weaken the bridge itself. Tunnels pose unique hazmat dangers. The fact that they are closed in allows fumes or toxins to spread. Evacuation is complicated by limited access or egress. Populated areas face unique challenges. Incidents here mean widespread exposure, complex evacuations, and the need to protect vulnerable populations. So, once the route plan is established, the State Highway Patrol will likely be the source of your permits and/or special instructions. Occasionally, you might need escorts. All your paperwork must always be readily available. Manifests. These are used for bulk shipments of hazmat, especially when multiple materials are being transported together. They list all the different materials, their quantities, and their order in the truck. This helps keep track of everything and ensures that incompatible materials are properly separated. Shipping papers. These are essential documents, like a birth certificate for your hazardous product, that travel with the hazmat. They contain crucial information for identifying the materials, their hazards, and emergency response procedures. This includes hazard class quantity emergency contact information, or who to call in case of an incident. This might be the shipper, the carrier, or a 24/7 emergency response service like Chemtrek. The reportable quantity designation, also known as RQ, indicates a hazardous substance requiring immediate reporting to the National Response Center, or NRC, if released. Emergency Response Information, ERI, provides guidance on handling spills, leaks, or other incidents. It must include immediate hazards, firefighting measures, first aid. ERI must be readily available, either as a separate document or with shipping papers, as mandated by the Hazardous Materials Regulations, HMR. It's a critical component of hazmat safety. What you will carry with you as the driver of the commercial vehicle. Hours of service logs. These logs track the driver's driving and rest times to ensure they comply with federal regulations. Driver's license and endorsements. The driver must have a valid commercial driver's license, CDL, with the Hazardous Materials Endorsement, or HME. This can be either a standalone H endorsement for hazmat or an X endorsement, which is a combination endorsement that incorporates the tanker endorsement and the hazmat endorsement as one singular endorsement. If you want to haul hazmat, I recommend the X endorsement. This endorsement shows you've passed a background check and knowledge test, proving you understand the regulations and can handle hazmat safely. Another common endorsement is the T endorsement, allowing you to drive both double and triple sets of trailers. In order to obtain your hazardous materials endorsement, you will be fingerprinted and have a background check completed through Homeland Security. Medical Examiner's Certificate. This certifies that the driver is physically qualified to operate a commercial vehicle, is typically issued for 2 years, but sometimes 1 year. It should be valid and within the expiration date. You will also likely want to obtain a Transportation Workers Identification Card. A Transportation Worker Identification Credential, TWIC, is a tamper-resistant biometric credential required by the Maritime Transportation Security Act for workers who need unescorted access to secure areas of port facilities, outer continental shelf facilities, and vessels regulated under the Act. It's necessary for maritime workers, including longshoremen, truck drivers, and port employees, to ensure the security of maritime transportation and prevent unauthorized access to sensitive areas. To obtain a TWIC, complete an online application or visit an enrollment center. Provide proof of identity and citizenship status. Pay a non-refundable fee. Undergo a security assessment by the Transportation Security Administration, or TSA, including a background check and fingerprinting. Once approved, you'll receive your TWIC card, which is valid for 5 years. Vehicle registration. This proves the vehicle is legally registered and allowed to operate on the roads. Insurance. This shows proof of insurance coverage in case of an accident or other incident. Obvious, I know, but they need to be in the truck. Summary of what you will carry with you as a hazmat driver. Hazmat drivers must keep their written route plan, permits, special instructions, manifests if multiple products, shipping papers, emergency response information, hours of service logs, commercial driver's license with proper endorsements, medical examiner's certificate, TWIC card, vehicle registration and insurance, readily accessible. Paperwork positioning in the truck. Hazmat product-related paperwork pertaining to your load must be within your reach while your seatbelt is fastened and easily seen by anyone entering the cab. Keep it on the driver's seat, in the driver's door pouch, or in a readily accessible holder, in a binder. Keeping a copy of your product's safety data sheet, SDS, formerly known as the Material Safety Data Sheet, MSDS, on hand is a good practice for hazmat drivers. Think of the SDS as your hazmat playbook. And keep a copy of your own emergency response guidebook. It's all about being prepared. In transit procedures. When you're on the road with hazmat, you need to be extra vigilant. Follow safe driving practices, including maintaining a safe speed and following distance. Keep your phone on your GPS app and use One Touch or a headset that allows for hands-free options. And of course, always wear the appropriate personal protective equipment, or PPE, to protect yourself from hazards, especially outside the truck. In case of accident, if you do have an accident or spill, you need to know how to react quickly and safely. Assess the situation, protect yourself and others, contact emergency responders, and contain the area if possible. Having a clear plan and knowing the procedures can make all the difference in minimizing the impact of an incident. Security awareness. Hazmat can be a target for theft or terrorism, so it's important to be aware of your surroundings and report any suspicious activity. Protecting your cargo is about more than just preventing spills. It's also about national security. Key players in hazmat transport. Shippers, responsible for the proper classification, packaging, and labeling of hazardous materials before transport. Carriers, ensure safe transportation through driver training, appropriate vehicles and equipment, regulatory compliance, and emergency response planning. Drivers, directly handle hazardous materials, requiring knowledge of the materials, safe loading and unloading procedures, cautious driving, and emergency preparedness. Case studies. Learning from real-world examples of hazmat incidents can be incredibly valuable. Case studies can highlight the consequences of mistakes, the importance of following procedures, and the bravery of those who respond to these incidents. Let me provide a case study example that gives an example scenario of an incident, with the responsibility on the driver, and in which the incident might have been easily prevented. Let's say a flatbed truck is carrying a load of corrosive chemicals in drums. The driver, rushing to meet a deadline, hasn't properly secured the load, thinking it's just a short trip. On the highway, the truck hits a pothole, and several drums break loose, spilling the chemicals onto the road. Now, this driver hasn't reviewed the safety data sheet, so they don't fully understand the risks involved or the proper emergency procedures. They also haven't kept their emergency response guidebook handy. They hesitate, unsure how to react, while the spilled chemicals start to react with the road surface, creating hazardous fumes. This incident could have been avoided with proper securement, diligent review of the SDS, and readily accessible emergency response information. It underscores the importance of a driver's responsibility to understand their load, secure it properly, and be prepared for any situation. Safety Data Sheet SDS, formerly Material Safety Data Sheet MSDS. Here's a breakdown of the information about Safety Data Sheets SDS. What is an SDS and why is it important? Imagine you're handling a chemical. I don't suppose you would want to just guess what it is or how to use it safely, right? That's where a Safety Data Sheet, SDS, formerly known as a Material Safety Data Sheet, MSDS, comes in. It's like a chemicals instruction manual. It provides crucial information about the substance. It is a comprehensive guide that helps you understand the risks and how to handle the material safely. These documents are standardized internationally, meaning the information is presented in a consistent format no matter where you are in the world. This is important for anyone who handles, transports, or might be exposed to hazardous materials, including truck drivers, hazmat personnel, and anyone working with chemicals. The SDS covers a wide range of information, from the chemical's physical and chemical properties, like whether it's flammable or corrosive, to the health hazards it poses, like skin irritation or respiratory problems. It also details safe handling procedures, storage guidelines, and what to do in an emergency, such as a leak or spill. Having access to the SDS is essential for staying safe and responding effectively to any incidents. It's not just paperwork, it's your key to understanding and minimizing the risks associated with hazardous substances. Understanding the sections of a safety data sheet. An SDS is organized into 16 specific sections, each providing important information. Think of it as a well-structured document that guides you through everything you need to know about the chemical. Here's a closer look at some key sections. Identification. This section tells you exactly what the material is, its UN number, which is a unique identifier for hazardous substances, and its hazard class, such as flammable liquid, corrosive, and so forth, and covered thoroughly in Video 1. Hazards identification. This section outlines the potential dangers the material poses, including physical hazards like flammability or explosiveness, and health hazards like skin corrosion or respiratory irritation. Composition or ingredients. Here you'll find a list of the chemical's ingredients and their approximate percentages. This is important for understanding the overall hazard and identifying any specific substances you might be sensitive to. First aid measures. This section provides crucial instructions on what to do if someone is exposed to the chemical, whether through inhalation, skin contact, or ingestion. It details immediate steps to take before professional medical help arrives. Firefighting measures. This section explains how to extinguish fires involving the material. It will specify the appropriate extinguishing agents to use and any special precautions firefighters should take. Accidental release measures. This section outlines procedures for containing spills and leaks, including cleanup methods and protective equipment. Handling and storage. Here you'll find guidelines for safe handling practices, proper storage conditions, and any incompatible materials to avoid. Exposure controls and personal protection. This section recommends appropriate personal protective equipment, PPE such as gloves, respirators, or eye protection, to minimize exposure to the hazardous material. Using an SDS effectively involves first confirming you have the correct SDS for the specific material. Then, carefully read the relevant sections, paying close attention to the hazards, safety precautions, and emergency response procedures. For example, the SDS for hydrochloric acid will detail the necessary PPE, like acid-resistant gloves and goggles, for example, safe handling procedures, and specific first aid measures in case of a spill or exposure. Emergency Response Guidebook (ERG). The Emergency Response Guidebook (ERG) helps first responders during hazmat incidents. It helps them quickly identify hazardous materials, protect themselves and the public, and take the right steps to manage the situation. What's in it? Color-coded sections. Flowcharts help with decision-making. Information on placards, labels, markings, and all classes of dangerous goods. The ERG provides safety guides for groups of materials with similar dangers. The ERG provides guidance on safe distances, handling spills, and protective gear. It has details on potential hazards, health risks, and emergency response actions. Glossary and user's guide in the white pages. Key things to remember. The ERG is for the initial phase of a hazmat incident. It helps you identify the material, protect yourself, and take the right actions. Use the color-coded sections to find the information you need quickly. The ERG is updated every 4 years, so make sure you have the latest version. Resources and further learning. Relevant regulations. The world of hazmat is governed by a complex set of regulations. Knowing where to find these regulations, such as in the 49 CFR or Code of Federal Regulations in the U.S., will help you stay informed and compliant. Training materials. Continuous learning is essential in the hazmat field. There are many training courses and resources available to help you stay up to date on the latest regulations and best practices. Industry organizations include many groups like the PHMSA, or Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration. This is your most crucial resource. They are the primary regulatory body for hazmat transport in the U.S. Their website has regulations, training materials, and emergency response guides. They are part of the Department of Transportation. Their website address is phmsa.gov. The DOT, or the Department of Transportation. While PHMSA falls under DOT, the DOT website itself offers broader information on transportation safety, including hazmat. Their website address is .k.gov. FMCSA, or the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, focuses on motor carrier safety, including regulations for hazmat trucking. They have resources on driver qualifications, vehicle inspections, and safety regulations. Their website address is fmcsa.gov. There are also other websites that deal with hazmat transport, such as the Federal Railroad Administration, the FAA, or the Federal Aviation Administration, the USCG, or United States Coast Guard, the EPA, or the Environmental Protection Agency, the American Trucking Association, Hazmat University, state-level DOTs, national tank truck carriers, and Chemtrek, or the Chemical Transportation Emergency Center, which also provides information and support for hazmat professionals. Finally, there are also universities and research institutions, many of which have courses or certifications available that can be used in the hazmat field. Affiliate marketing. Picking up a copy of the Emergency Response Guidebook, ERG, couldn't hurt. I'll be providing a link for possible purchase of your own copy in the description. The link will be an affiliate link, meaning that it is provided for your convenience if you choose to purchase a copy. When you purchase, I may receive a very small commission, as that is how affiliate marketing works. Although the opportunity to help educate you, to share something that is actually useful, and to contribute to strengthening YouTube's knowledge base means much more to me than the few cents I might make if you purchase a copy. If you don't see the link yet, check back. These videos take a lot of time to make. I can assure you, it'll show up eventually. This is how I hope to fund the many hours of work I put into creating my videos. I appreciate your support of my channel. This wraps up part 2 of what I intend will be a 3-part hazmat series. This current video, number 2 of 3, is intended to replace my previous video number 2. I wasn't satisfied with it, so I remade it. I will eventually be placing an affiliate marketing link for purchase in the description of this video if you are interested. I also have the names and website addresses of more hazmat-related groups than I have listed here. Eventually, I will put them into a PDF, and when I do, I will put the link for that PDF in the description if you are interested in conducting your own research. There is a wealth of information and educational resources available for those who are interested in all things trucking and hazmat. In summary, safety is everyone's responsibility in the world of hazmat and should be when operating any commercial vehicle, although I've learned that's not always the case. If you found value here or learned something from this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more trucking content that is created by me for you. Credit to Google and Google Gemini Al for their help streamlining my presentation and for feedback. This video was narrated by Amanda B. Reckoned With and has been brought to you by Foltz at Outward Divergence on his channel, Through the Eyes of a Trucker. I'm grateful for your time and support of my creative endeavors and my channel. I hope to provide relevant and educational trucking material well into the future. I wholeheartedly believe that trucking's raison d'etre, or reason for existence, in the movement of goods, is the very foundation of commerce and our economy. Thank you for subscribing. You have a great day and keep on trucking.